The end of the year is upon us, and the cold is growing harsher. I stand absent-mindedly, watching my white breath diffuse into the night. I'm at the arena, waiting for Kanon. It was Eichi. Done with dinner already? His voice was more than peevish. What, did it not work out? This has got to be record timing even for him. Huh? Did I do something wrong? Oh, come on. That chick's crazy good looking and she seemed like your type too. Kinda like a big sister, right? I rambled on, flustered. Is that so? Are you sure you didn't just say something to piss her off? Then what happened? Yeah? Okay. Like hell you do. Sure. Good move, right? I bet. A comedy skit on a blind date was probably a bad move. She did well to stay in the restaurant. I beg to differ, my friend. Whatever you say, man. I'll talk to you later. I did my part. I don't feel bad about it. Anyway, Kanon is really late tonight. It's nearly 11 o'clock. I guess I'll go check up on her. They let me through the gates after I tell them I'm Kanon's brother. Kanon isn't in the rink. I wander around the arena asking about Kanon and I finally find her. She's talking to Ekoko about something. I hesitate to call out to her. Man, she looks pissed. Kanon is pouting with her arms folded and her back to the wall.
Kanon-chan, onegai. Doushite mo muri?
She's too angry to even look her mother in the eye. I nonchalantly appear. Kanon gives me a short glance.
Kyosuke-kun kara mo onegai shite moraenai kashira?
Ekoko talks to me without looking away from Kanon.
Jitsu wa ne, Kanon-chan ni oshigoto no irai ga kitete ne.
That's great.
テレビに出るみたいに大きなお仕事じゃないから嫌がってるの。
So what kind of gig are we talking about, Kanon? I tested the waters a bit in an attempt to get on Kanon's good side. Apparently, this proposition is so abhorrent that it's got her ignoring my very existence.
休日に中央区の外れのある介護施設でね。ちょっと挨拶してバレエを披露してくれればいいの。
Well, that's definitely not a high-profile appearance, but why are you refusing, Kanon? Kanon doesn't answer. Her mouth remained tightly shut as if trying to dam words from coming out.
老人の相手なんてしてられないって思ってるのよ。この
Just then Kanon's eyes shout out with a glare. Seeing the hatred in her eyes, I'm at a loss for words. I could only wonder, what could her mother possibly have done to cause Kanon to be so hateful toward her?
ちょっとくらい世間が冷たい時期でも、そういう小さなお仕事を積み重ねていかなきゃ。人気が大切なのは、カノンちゃんも知っているでしょ。人に嫌われたら、いい点数つけてもらえないのよ。
Ekoko-san looked unusually unshakable as she spoke with a touch of fire.
そういうスポーツなんだから。
I fumblingly opened my mouth. You shouldn't work her too hard, Ekoko-san. Ekoko-san didn't turn around.
カノンちゃん、こんなに頼んでもダメ？
She only had eyes for the one she was trying to curry favor with. However, being ignored has never been enough to keep me quiet. I recently read a book by a coach who was once called the Treasure of Japan. It said in there somewhere that you aren't supposed to make athletes work on holidays. She didn't say anything. Not that you're her coach or agent anyway, Ekoko-san.
でも、母親ですから。
She says this with her back to me, her voice full of emotion.
みんな同じようなこと言うわ。私を部外者扱いしようとする。そんなの許されるわけないでしょ。私はカノンちゃんを誰よりも理解しているんだから。
She lets out a haughty sigh.
ね、カノンちゃん。
Her back drives me away like a pest, yet she's likely still wearing that perpetually friendly smile. Ekoko-san, you're being conceited. Kanon held her breath. Why would Kanon decide to stop coming home to someone who understands her best?
それは私がたまには兄さんの家で寝泊まりしたらと言ってあげたからよ。
She basked in her generosity.
大会が終わったらすぐに帰ってくるわよね、カノンちゃん。
Kanon bit her lip hard enough to draw blood.
京介くん、カノンちゃんは何か私を拒否するようなこと言っていた？
I was at a loss. If I think about it, Kanon seems to reject Ekoko-san with her attitude, but she's never actually spoken up.
ほらご覧なさい。カノンちゃんはとってもいい子なの。
I've never heard her say a single good thing either.
そんな照れくさいことこの子は言いません。
Ekoko-san's back grew more ominous. I felt a vague chill. Don't tell me this woman's honestly never even seen the holes in her logic. She published a book that made her the laughing stock of an entire sport and stays at Kanon's side when she realizes that she doesn't belong. You would have to be as stubborn as a brick to pull off that kind of stunt. Still, some people can go their whole lives without admitting their wrongdoings or budging in the least. For example, not even Coach Hilton and the tournament staff can manage to keep her in line. They've decided to allow her to live out her narrow-minded delusions instead. Poor Kanon. I can't believe she was raised by a parental figure that dense. Kanon's lips trembled as if she couldn't restrain herself any longer.
いいよ、
She spoke with a vacant voice.
やるよ。やるから、もう帰ろ
She walks through the corridor like an empty shell.
う。兄さん、そういうことだから。
Hearing her explanatory tone, I finally realized the issue here. Kanon walks away. Oh, so is her job supposed to happen at the same time as her date with Kyosuke? Maybe that's the problem. The Christmas Eve she couldn't wait for had just been crushed. Kanon's gig is on the 24th of all days. Kanon, wait! I grab Kanon's shoulders as she tries to go ahead.
何？
Her eyes were wild. Why didn't you refuse?
コーチがしつこいから。
But it's on Christmas Eve. Are you alright with that? The look on Kanon's face was the look she bears when washing her hands of her own feelings.
お仕事だし、私が断れるはずないもの。
Sure you can.
なんかね、昔コーチのコーチしてた人に頼まれたんだって。じゃあ断れないよね。
I hear Ekoko-san's former coach is a training manager within the skating union. Quite an important person in the world of Japanese figure skating. Is Kanon being used for the sake of Ekoko-san's image again?
もういいよ。帰ろう。
I can't accept that.
いいってば。
No, it's not. If you say you don't want to, Ekoko-san can't force you. Her facial expression changes.
何？私が悪いって言いたいの？
She looks up at me haughtily as she confronts me with a defiant tone. Still, a shadow of sadness and despair flickered in that gaze. Calm down, Kanon. I didn't say that.
でもそういうことじゃない？私が断ればよかったんでしょ？違う？今兄さんはそういう意味のこと言ったよね。
She speaks as the tension builds within her. I get it. I'm sorry. Kanon nods, having seemingly lost her next words. I just thought that instead of keeping your emotions bottled up, you should just tell her you don't want to.
プロなんだから嫌なことも我慢しなきゃいけないの。
She sulks like a child, yet says such dignified words. But you are not a pro yet. You may be treated like an idol, but you don't have to put up with so much that you lose sight of yourself.
じゃあ兄さんが何とかしてみせてよ。コーチを止めてみせてよ。スケート連合の偉い人に文句言ってよ。悪口ばっかり言うテレビを消してよ。
I realize my powerlessness. Kanon's worries are things I can't do anything about. Alright, I'll stop. I changed my tone toward Kanon. I just think it's a pity. I wanted to spend Christmas Eve with you, that's all.
はい、じゃあこの話はおしまい。
She speaks with resignation.
まったく、なんで私が。
She clenches her fist tightly.
兄さんまで私を責めるなんて。
Kanon mutters in resentment as I search for a reply. She's a fragile girl. I don't know how to deal with her delicate heart of sand. Still, I have to face her. Let's go, I'll walk you home. I pull Kanon's clenched fist. It was a dark, cold night. After seeing Kanon off the next morning, I head to my desk. It's nearly the end of the year and I've been neglecting my Azai Corporation work recently. There are only 2 days left before the tournament. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve and I don't know what to do. This is bad. I bought a magazine this morning after seeing Kanon's name on the cover. The article's title, Azai Kanon's Connections to Underworld Crime Syndicates Revealed. The public has always kept its knowledge about Kanon and the Sonoyama group on a somewhat tacit level. They can never prove anything, of course, but rumors have run rampant all through the press, both online and in hard copy formats. All it takes is the slightest show of weakness or vulnerability, any opening whatsoever, and the media will jump on it. One of the pages showcased a picture of Kanon leaving my apartment with a man who looked like me. The article's twist implied that she was engaging in illicit affairs right before a major competition, no less. An anonymous liaison identified me as a goon involved in an organized crime syndicate. God damn it, I didn't even realize my picture had been taken. I violently threw the magazine into the rubbish bin and began to brainstorm a damage control plan. It seems that Gonzo hasn't responded to this. Last time he barged into the editor's office and gave them a good thrashing, but this time he's just sitting on the sidelines. I see. Damn. That means he thinks this whole mess is unsalvageable. I had planned to utilize my connections with the publisher to pressure them into changing their story, but that would be useless. Every editor in Japan is conspiring against Kanon, trying to make her into the next big scoop. Every last one of them has turned their backs on her. It wouldn't be all that big of a stretch to say the whole country is rejecting Kanon. Instead of getting worked up over her popularity, she needs to buckle down and produce some results. But in Kanon's state, at that moment there was a sound at the door. It was just a little past noon. Hey, aren't you supposed to be at your official practice? Even spectators were coming to see you today, weren't they? She sulked in the doorway. Injured? What happened? Is that true? It doesn't seem to be that severe. Is it really that bad? She didn't reply. I tilted my head in doubt. And collided with you? It's not particularly rare for athletes to bump into each other during practice. I'm utterly perplexed. Well, why would she do that? Kanon has a tantrum, throwing her duffel bag on the floor. I must up my calmest voice in response. Kanon, go back to practice. The tournament is in 2 days. This time is critical for improving your program. She raises her voice and shouts at me. Her eyes become full of hostility and she flares her nostrils. Nothing. But do you really think you can win like that? She raises her voice and points at me. Her reaction was too sensitive. I finally realized Kanon wasn't as confident as she let on. And because she lacks confidence, she's taking it out on me. Only Japanese athletes will be participating in the Japan Championships, thus it's likely to become a one-on-one match between Seta and Kanon. Kanon never saw Seta as a threat, so it must have been quite a shock to her pride to be beaten by her. Kanon, you shouldn't fret over Seta. If you keep worrying about her, you won't win. You said so yourself, remember? She lowered her head, but her obstinate attitude remained. Kanon, you're selfish as hell, but you've never been one to lie, and you've always kept your dignity when it comes to skating. You get what I'm saying, right? Now go back to practice. I glanced at the waist she had been whining about and pointed to the door.
だって
She shakes her head vexed.
今外に出たらテレビの人がいっぱいだよ。
What?
瀬田さんに怒鳴りつけてやったの。死んじゃえって。
I was dazed for a moment.
自分が悪いのにベソベソ泣いちゃってさ。
Go apologize right this instant. I stare Kanon down.
なんで？
She must have seen the anger in my eyes as she returned fire accordingly.
だってわざとぶつかってきたんだよ。怪我するところだったんだよ。
Even if she did, what you said was wrong. Well, not that I can say anything. Look, I'll go with you. I grabbed her hand, but she shook it off.
絶対行かない。
She must be confusing me with her submissive mother.
あの子泣きながら言うの。どうしたんですかカノンさん。憧れてたのにって。へこへこと尻尾ばっかり振って。
I begrudgingly listened to Kanon as her voice began to drip with resentment.
絶対謝らないからね。
She stood there like a rock, not budging an inch. I hesitate before sighing a few times. What should I do? How should I loosen Kanon's obstinate conviction? Force her to apologize or embrace her and show my affection? I don't think we can force her to apologize as she is now. So I'd say embrace her and show my affection. Because why not? I loosened up my posture and called to her. Kanon, come here.
何？
Just come here. She cautiously walks over to me. You must be tired. I wrap my arms around her neck. Calm down a little.
落ち着いてるよ。
Good. Then let's go back and apologize in a little bit. I said this casually, but it backfired.
それは嫌だよ。
Kanon started shouting with hostility again.
なんで兄さんの言うこと聞かなきゃいけないの？
What are you going off about now?
知ってるよ。兄さんだってパパの仕事手伝って悪いことたくさんしてるんでしょ？
I couldn't tell whether she was just bluffing or she actually did know.
そうなんでしょ？絶対そうだよ。
I kept my cool and replied. And what if I do? It doesn't matter what kind of person I am. If Mother Teresa were here, you wouldn't listen to her. You won't listen to anyone. And anyway, I'm not the one we are talking about here. Let me fall to hell of my own volition. Kanon hung her head and clamped her mouth shut in fright. It's true that I'm in no position to admonish anyone, so I'll just have to change Kanon's mind through my usual means. Would you be willing to compromise? I deepen my voice, as I do when I'm engaging in business negotiations. You absolutely refuse to apologize to Seta?
だから何度も言ってるじゃない。
Fine, at least go back to practice.
それは
No buts, you're out of my house one way or the other, but if you don't show up at practice, you'd better find some other place to sleep tonight, because you'll be dead to me. I finally hit her where it hurts. She shut her mouth and her lips started trembling. What, you got a problem with that? Then get the hell out of here and get back to the arena. I'm a cruel brute beyond salvation to address my sister in this manner.
そんな。兄さんは兄さんだけは味方じゃ。
This isn't about picking sides, Kanon. I made a compromise. You don't have to apologize for saying bad things to Seta, but you do have to continue skating. Kanon droops her head at my conditions.
わかったよ。
She picks up her bag, still looking flustered. Is this really okay? I just convinced her to keep skating. After some time, after her emotional scars have healed, maybe she will apologize to Seta. Really though, the girl should be kneeling in atonement before hitting the rink. Okay, that's it for this episode of G-senjou no Maou, and hopefully I will see you on the next one. Until then, have a good life. Bye bye.